maybe
That's
something I
right.
can do to help you.
That's right. Yeah. But
Well,
anyway, so that's what's happening now.
state.
And the homeschooling community is feeling put upon. Homeschooling is a different issue altogether, but it does bring up the question of why we have no requirements at all. I thank you for the call.
This afternoon, there will be showers and a thunderstorm with a high in the mid-60s. More showers and a thunderstorm this evening and overnight. There will be fog late with a low in the upper 50s. Showers and thunderstorms through tomorrow afternoon with a high in the upper 60s to near 70. I'm meteorologist Paul Fioric on WICC.
Now, let's take a look back with Norman. Let's hear what happened today in WICC history.
Run at number 1 on the charts. In 1994, the Channel Tunnel linking the UK to France is opened.
Fastest undersea tunnel in the world.
On this day 2 years ago, Charles and Camilla were crowned king and queen.
I here present unto you King Charles.
And in 2004, it was the final episode of Friends with 51 million viewers watching.
This is harder than I thought it would be. Should we get some coffee?
Sure. Where?
May 6th.
That was today in WICC history.
I'm Linda Kenyon report.
Never say never.
While Canadian Prime Minister Carney did seem to say never.
As you know, never say never.
While Canadian Prime Minister Carney did seem to say never.
From real estate, there are
talks with China. There has been a lot of confusing messaging coming from the president, coming from the Chinese, that there are talks, there aren't talks.
Will allow us to know individuals in this country, who they are, and that they're authorized to travel.
A second judge has ruled that the Trump administration cannot use the 18th century war. A second judge has ruled that the Trump administration cannot use the 18th century Wartime Act to swiftly deport people who it says are Venezuelan.
Shipman says the financial strain has become intense. She says the school is looking for alternate funding sources to keep its research going.
Anticipation's building in Rome ahead of the conclave to elect a new pope. CBS Papal contributor Candida Moss.
I think there's going to be a little bit of a swing back to the center of the Catholic Church, and there's going to be a lot of debate about whether or not we want someone like Francis. Everyone wants that Francis magic, but they don't necessarily want the Francis Manifesto.
On Wall Street at this hour, the Dow Jones Industrials are down 373 points. This is CBS News.
A word from Progressive Insurance. Life can be hard, so Progressive can make bundling your home and auto easy. Hope that helps. Learn more at Progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But what if you could get both? Why not? Especially when it comes to health care, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge, but it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. And we know this from research of members. There's a lot they like about MediShare, but especially they love being part of something they believe in. And MediShare works, too. It has for more than 30 years. There are hundreds of thousands of members who love having telehealth if they need it. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you could save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or you're part of the gig economy or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Call 877-26-BIBLE. That's 877-26-BIBLE. 877-26-BIBLE.
WICC 695.9. Voice of Connecticut Local News Update.
A jury has acquitted a Bridgeport man of murder but convicted him of first-degree manslaughter for a 2022 homicide in the city. The jury yesterday delivered the verdict in the case of 45-year-old Lawrence Blue, who claimed self-defense in the killing of Justice Hunter. The 23-year-old victim was stabbed in the chest on Atlantic Street in October of 2022. Blue faces up to 20 years in prison at sentencing in July. Jimmy McGrath at a house party in Shelton in 2022. The defendant, Raul Valley, was 16 years old at the time. He allegedly stabbed McGrath and injured 3 other students during a fight outside the party. Holy Trinity Catholic Academy in Shelton is closing for good at the end of the academic year. The Diocese of Bridgeport indicates that financial issues and declining enrollment led to the decision to close the pre-K through 8th grade school. State Senator Jason Pirillo is also chair of the school's board of directors and says this is a painful but necessary decision. An event is scheduled at Holy Trinity Thursday afternoon for parents and students to learn about other nearby Catholic schools. Payer College of Art in Bridgeport is closed for good. Payer officials say all student academic records will be transferred to a third party designated by the state or to another accredited institution. And West Haven has received a state grant of close to $2 million to help improve the area around the VA hospital. The money from the state will be used to repave streets and sidewalks around the grant, saying these types of projects make a big difference for the community. The project is in the design stage and should be completed in less than a year. I'm Chris Williams with WICC News.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
Bridgefield, Route 102 is closed between Old Branchville Road and Bloomer Road because of downed power cables. On the Wilbur Cross northbound, you have ongoing construction, exits 59 through 60. Stay left to get through it. And on 95 northbound, just extra cars going through Stamford and Fairfield. On the Upper Merritt northbound, accident reported approaching exit 46. Traffic reports powered by the Fairfield Law Office of Eliason and Tenor. Give your family and yourself the most important gift you can give, peace of mind. Visit ConnecticutElderLaw.com. I'm Edge Krause, WICC Traffic.
A wet evening and overnight on the way with the showers and a thunderstorm with areas of fog late and a low in the mid-50s. More showers and a thunderstorm tomorrow with a high in the upper 60s. Sunny on Thursday with a high near 70. I'm meteorologist Paul Fiorek on WICC.
You're listening to Connecticut Today with Paul Piselli on WICC 600 and 95.9, the voice of Connecticut.
So I've been thinking more and more, and a little bit more over the past day or so regarding this homeschooling, controversy, kerfluffle, whatever word or verb or adjective you want to use now. And there was a big crowd up there at the state capitol yesterday. A lot of people, I think quite properly so, pushing back on what they say may be some, onerous as far as they're concerned. Man, this guy that apparently was held captive allegedly in Waterbury under the guise, I guess, of years ago being homeschooled. Why was he never discovered to be in this alleged domestic captivity for the better part of 20 years, since he was 12 now, up to recently when he was 32. But, I've been thinking about this, and I understand the fear of a lot of those people, a couple of thousand of them you saw at the Capitol yesterday. But I also understand that just maybe if there were, I don't know, help me out on this, if there were more, might things have ended up a little differently, just a skosh, just a tad differently. What am I talking about? Well, again, we know what one of the real problems is here, that people are still asking questions about how somebody could be held captive by a stepmother for 20 years and need to start a fire to get out. So as I've been saying here in the promos for the show upcoming today, and I was thinking about this yesterday, could two things be possible or realistic at the same time? Could we have a scenario where, yes, we should not reflexively run away from more homeschooling regulations or safety checks, but and or B, is this being used as a bit of a smokescreen because we still more detail, but can that, so you have that where that's a possibility being true, but can two things possibly be true here? Can you say, A, that maybe we should tighten up a little bit, not a lot, on homeschooling, but B, this is being used as a cover for the fact that we really haven't gotten the hardcore answers we need on this situation yet? So again, and if you want to chime in on this, 203-333-94, basic guidelines being put in place here, maybe under the guise of a state agency working with state legislators, safety checks here. Now, I have this as a question on the Facebook page here, facebook.com/voice of CT. And yeah, maybe it is. Maybe both things are correct. But is it unreasonable to sit back and say, hey, maybe if we had a few years and years out, Connecticut has basically little or no regulation on homeschoolers. If homeschooling wasn't necessarily the reason that what happened in Waterbury did, as we heard yesterday from some Republicans, no, that wasn't the reason. The reason was alleged criminal behavior by a step-parent. So you can have two things here, can you not? You can recognize who's really at fault here, but then cannot you also say, hey, if we had a couple of checks in here, checks and balances along the way, that we may have been able to jump on this a bit quicker?
This spring, the WICC staff is live and local with everything you need to know every single day. Join Melissa in the morning starting at Speaks Her Mind and wants to hear what's on yours. All the latest news headlines continue at noon on the Download with John and Chris. Connecticut Today with Paul Pacelli goes live at 2 for the latest as you head home. And it's all live every weekday on the Voice of Connecticut, WICC 600 at 95.9.
A.G. Williams Painting, A.G. Williams Painting, the people you trust to do the job right.
Imagine your house perfectly painted. Fresh colors, clean lines, looking better than ever. And now imagine a painting experience that's just as good. We're talking friendly painters, easy communication, and never feeling in the dark. With A.G. Williams Painting, you don't have to imagine it.
A.G. Williams Painting, the people you trust to do the job right.
A.G. Williams Painting has been painting in your neighborhood since 1906, and they know how to do it right. You'll love their team, too. A.G. Williams Painting has career craftspeople who are totally dedicated to their work and invested in your project. That means peace of mind and a paint job you can be proud of.
A.G. Williams Painting, A.G. Williams Painting, the people you trust to do the job right.
Discover the finest flooring in Southern Connecticut at Courtesy Carpet. With over 50 years experience, we've got your flooring needs covered. From intricate area rugs, durable vinyl and laminate to elegant stair runners. Shop anywhere, but make sure to see us before you buy. Visit courtesycarpet.com to explore our extensive selection. Visit Ellen, Jay, and the team at Courtesy Carpet, Route 111 in Monroe. Trust us, the experts in quality flooring. Because at Courtesy Carpet, your satisfaction is our courtesy.
Maritime Chevrolet of Fairfield Mobile Service Plus is the next generation of door-to-door maintenance and repair. Enhance your Chevrolet, GMC, or Cadillac ownership experience by making your service needs easy. Utilize our conveniences, including pickup and redelivery, courtesy transportation, and now Mobile Service Plus. Experience next-level service coming soon from Maritime Chevrolet in Fairfield. World-class technicians, superior professionalism, and customer care starts at MaritimeChevy.com.
The Greater Bridgeport Symphony is proud to present Something Big, Maestro Eduardo Leandro's grand inaugural concert as GBS's new music director and principal conductor, performing works by Brahms and Mendelssohn, featuring Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto No. 2, with guest pianist Andrew Armstrong, Saturday, May 10th at 7:30 p.m. It's Mother's Day Eve. Bring your mom to the Klein Memorial Auditorium in Bridgeport. Tickets $18 to $72, sponsored by the Ernest and Joan Treffs Foundation. Get tickets now at gbs.org. Greater Bridgeport Symphony.
Discover fresh deals and cozy feels at Spectre Furniture, the trusted name for quality furniture and mattresses for 135 years. Visit their expanded Gold Bond Mattress Gallery featuring double-sided premium mattresses. That's right, double-sided and flippable, made in America and adjustable bed friendly. Now on sale at Spectre Furniture and Mattress Gallery, Main Street, Ansonia. Trusted for 135 years. Spectre Furniture, Main Street, Ansonia, or online at spectrefurniture.com.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
Ridgefield, Route 102 is closed between Old Branchville Road and Bloomer Road because of downed power cables. On the Wilbur Cross northbound, you have ongoing construction, exits 59 through 60. Stay left to get through it. And on 95 northbound, just extra cars going through Stamford and Fairfield. On the Upper Merritt northbound, accident reported approaching exit 46. Traffic reports powered by the Fairfield Law Office of Eliason and Tenor. Give your family and yourself the most important gift you can give, peace of mind. Visit ConnecticutElderLaw.com. And then Krause, WICC traffic.
For this evening and overnight, there will be showers and maybe a thunderstorm with fog late and a low in the mid-50s. More showers and a thunderstorm tomorrow with a high in the upper 60s. Thursday, sunny with a high near 70. I'm meteorologist Paul Fiorik on WICC.
You're listening to Connecticut Today with Paul Pacelli. Now on WICC.
Side yesterday, a few thousand homeschooling advocates turning up at the Capitol to say, hey, the Waterbury thing was bad and maybe there were breakdowns along the way, but let's not throw all homeschool kids under the bus yet. And again, bear with me on this. Just try to see both sides here. The State Childhood Advocate Office says they do see somewhat of a pattern between allegations, between reports that they have to say two things can be possibly right here. Yes, this could be part of a deflection here, but I can also maybe accept the notion that if there were more safeguards in place from the time this gentleman was 12 or 13 and he was pulled out of school till the time he was an adult at 18, would this situation have not been taken to the extent that it was? 203-333-9422, 333-WICC. Now, there are 3 recommendations aimed at homeschooled kids. I'll read them for you in a second. You tell me if you think these are onerous. I'll have them for you in just a second. Francis in Stratford. Francis, good afternoon. How are you?
Oh, thank you. Before my phone dies.
Yes.
I want to make a comment because, they're saying the kid, this and this.
Yeah.
She's not getting much investigation or much public opinion. Why did she act in such a ungodly way towards this child?
Well, for Francis, you got to turn your radio down there in the background. I can hear us on the echo there.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Apparently, there is an investigation going on, but I don't think they want to. So, are you there, Francis? Hello? Francis going once? Did we lose Francis? I guess we might have. Francis, thank you. We lost Francis there. Okay. But, yeah, I know there are people who are wondering where the rest of the info is. If that's Francis, I'll put her back there. I think her phone may have dropped out on us. In any event, 203-333-9422, 333-WICC. Let's go to Rich right now in Bridgeport. Hello, Rich. How are you?
Hey, Paul. How are you?
Hey, what's going on?
Good. Listen, the issue that you're bringing forth, without knowing all the facts, someone is missing at the juvenile, and in this case, I guess this man now.
Yeah.
The authorities have to kick in. The school has to notify whatever social service agency, in this case the DCF, they have to notify.
Mm-hmm.
And then the police have to be notified because you have a missing child. Okay, and somebody has to go and knock on the door of the last known residence, find out where's this child, and from there they keep moving forward until they solve this. This never, unless there's extenuating circumstances I don't know about or we don't know about.
Yeah.
But you need to pursue it, and you don't take your foot off the gas. That's what needs to happen. And I know how it works because I used to do investigations.
Oh,
I know how
okay.
these things.
Yeah, and I guess, Rich, well, you would know they didn't see anything outwardly indicative of something bad, and now we're just waiting for them to bring forth, whatever extra info they have. And I guess, Rich, the inference here is if there had been better homeschooling regulations, in place, that might have helped the situation too. But of course, we don't know that.
No. And at the same time, we should never fixate on just one part.
Absolutely, Rich. Thank you. I appreciate it. No, Rich, listen, from somebody who used to do investigations, thank you for the call. I appreciate it. There are 3 recommendations here that, again, they're aiming at homeschooling with maybe the ability or the need here to deflect some of this blame. One aspect, one suggestion from the Office of the Childhood Advocate would be to require a parent and child to appear once a year to give an enrollment documentation. The OCA also is suggesting that the child be annually evaluated for academic progress by an independent entity, and finally, requiring an assessment from districts to determine if there have been any reports of suspected abuse or neglect. On the surface, and we'll get into these a little more detail after the news, on the surface, those don't sound crazy, but I also see where if you take those to the extreme, a lot of people aren't going to be happy. Cal in Bridgeport. Cal, what's up?
Paul, how are you?
Cal, how you been? What's going on?
I'm doing just fine, thanks. Listen, I just tuned in a little while ago. I don't know if this question was asked.
Yeah.
But how do you, for the parents to teach their children at home, do you need qualifications, like whether in English? I mean, how many qualifications do you need?
Apparently almost not any at all. You don't need any sort of a teacher's certificate or anything like that. You just have to attest to the fact, Cal, that you are instructing your kids in certain areas.
And how about their progress? You know what I'm saying? I mean, how do they get tested? At the end, it says, okay, this kid is ready. He graduated from high school. I mean, there's his diploma. I mean, how do you go about that?
Cal, it's very confusing. There are very, very little regulations.
Really worth it than saying, let me go to high school let me go to school, or I just want to be, totally at home. To me, it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense.
Cal, thank you. Good to hear from you, my friend. Be good. Listen, I was not homeschooled. No. I went all to school. And I know parents that have done it. And they say their kids love it and they spend time with their kids. I mean, I get it. I understand it. But it's just something that it's nothing I would do. Let's put it that way. But I'm not trying to bring any sort of disrepute to people who do it. But the question is, should we have a little more oversight? And if we do, can we uncover instances of abuse, not to say that it's exclusive to homeschooling? Traffic and weather together right here on WICC.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
On the Upper Merritt northbound, accident reported approaching exit 46. Traffic reports powered by the Fairfield Law Office of Eliason and Tenor. Give your family and yourself the most important gift you can give, peace of mind. Visit ConnecticutElderLaw.com. I'm Mitch Krause, WICC Traffic.
A wet evening and overnight on the way with the showers and a thunderstorm with areas of fog late and a low in the mid-50s. More showers and a thunderstorm tomorrow with a high in the upper 60s. Sunny on Thursday with a high near 70. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
You're listening to WICC 600 and 95.9, the voice of Connecticut, broadcasting from Cadillac of Greenwich Studios, CadillacofGreenwich.com.
Columbia Dental's Norwalk office is your go-to family dentist. They offer comprehensive care with general dentists and an oral surgeon. Conveniently located at 91 East Avenue, they're affiliated with the Columbia Implant Center in Manchester, operating 7 days a week, including holidays, to manage any dental emergency. With their in-house
the very next day. Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter for you. Then you can choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day. Best of all, you save time and energy.
Try Zip Intro for free right now at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow. Once again, Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This is WICC 695.9, the voice of Connecticut.
CBS News Brief. President Trump said today he'll be making a big announcement before leaving on a trip to the Middle East next week. In a meeting with Canada's Prime Minister, he was also asked about trade negotiations with other countries. He dismissed critics who point out no deals are being made.
We don't have to sign deals. They have to sign deals with us. They want a piece of our market. We don't want a piece of their market. We don't care about their market. They want a piece of our market.
The president also said the Houthi rebels in Yemen have agreed to stop their attacks on shipping in the Red Sea. Trump said they have capitulated. Department of Homeland Security
makers are using the Waterbury case to restrict the freedom to teach their children. Westport Democratic State Senator C.C. Marr told WTNH-TV News 8 that the difficulty is balancing safety with educational freedom.
What we're looking at is how do we thread this needle of keeping children safe and supporting homeschooling?
State Republicans are taking issue with the bill as well. According to Channel 8, Brookfield Republican State Senator Steve Harding believes that the state is using homeschooling as a scapegoat.
Where's the informational hearing on DCF? Where's that informational hearing? That should have been done months ago.
Supporters say they are only trying to make sure homeschooled children are being properly educated. The state of Connecticut has joined a multi-state lawsuit against the Trump administration over their efforts to freeze the development of wind energy. Attorney General William Tong says this is another effort by President Donald Trump to enrich the fossil fuel industry and illegally micromanage state businesses. Tong says Connecticut has the right to secure its own energy future and one that makes sense for its climate and costs. The former principal of a Danbury school accused of misusing funds has been denied a special form of probation. A judge has found that 56-year-old Jennifer Blue of Oxford is not eligible for accelerated rehabilitation that would have cleared her record after she completed probation. Blue was arrested in October for allegedly using a Westside Middle School Academy credit card to make unauthorized purchases and withdrawals. Negotiations will now resume between prosecutors and Blue's attorney on a possible plea deal. A developer wants to transform a vacant 3-story office building in Stratford into 14 affordable apartments. The former medical office building on Honey Spot Road near Lordship Avenue has been vacant for several years. Gold Coast Properties indicates the building apartments. All 14 units would be considered affordable under state law and would be offered to people earning 80% of the median income in the area. The strike by around 3,000 machinists at Pratt & Whitney has entered a second day. The unionized workers hit the picket line early yesterday morning after failing to reach a new contract with the company and its parent RTX Corporation. The unions representing the striking employees say the Jet Noir, who emphasized the importance of Pratt & Whitney on both a state and national level.
It's critical for our economy, but also for our country. In very uncertain times, Pratt & Whitney serves as a very important base for the machines and the work that we are making.
In numbers statewide. If you are bitten by a tick, experts at the State Environmental Science and Forestry Lab suggest that you send it in for testing to determine your risk. Dr. Godar's variety of
determine the engorgement status to somewhat estimate the amount of time those ticks have been on people.
If you're a dog owner, you should also make sure to check them before they come inside. And the University of New Haven this morning announced that it has officially accepted an invitation to join the Northeast Conference and begin a reclassification to NCAA Division I. According to a release this morning, the Chargers' 17-year association with the NE10 will end on June 30th, at which time their affiliation with the NEC will begin. The conference said they are disappointed with the university's decision, but still believe that Division II continues to offer the best path forward for the student-athlete experience. I'm Chris Williams with WICC News.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
Working on a wet track out there, at least watch your speeds, please. 95 north over half an hour from Stanford through Fairfield. The Parkway northbound is at least a little bit easier. In Ridgefield, Route 102 is closed in both directions between Old Branchfield Road and Bloomer Road because of downed power cables. I'm Andrew Krause with WICC Traffic.
For this evening and overnight, there will be showers and maybe a thunderstorm with fog late and a low in the mid-50s. More showers and a thunderstorm tomorrow with a high in the upper 60s. Thursday, sunny with a high near 70. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
If Bridgeport is talking about it, so is Paul. Connecticut Today with Paul Piselli on WICC 600 and 95.9, the voice of Connecticut.
So can two things be true at the same time? Can we still have questions from DCF, from the state, about this horrible situation where this young man allegedly was kept prisoner in his own house or in a house by his stepmother for 20 years and still acknowledge that maybe homeschooling, if it had a little bit more regulation, jump on this years earlier. 203-333-9422, 333-WICC. The question here on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Voice of CT. Do you agree with some lawmakers in Hartford who say that Connecticut needs to tighten regulations on homeschooling? There is an incredibly lax amount of regulations. I've been looking online here for the past 2 or 3 hours. There ain't much. And this is not to say that parents who homeschool their kids are nuts or anything. I'm not saying that. But can both sides say, yeah, okay, we need more answers from DCF, and then say, by the way, if there were a couple of more check-ins here, at least until this guy was...
Tax money away from the cities or the state, and for homeschooling, I'm all for it. But you watch how fast the regulations change, because they'll, like say you pay $1,000 a year in taxes, right? And that's for your kid for being homeschooled. Yeah. Well, if the city loses that, oh my God, we're going to be right on it. You're going to have to take standardized testing. You have to submit all your scores, all that, to make sure you maintain a certain grade. And that's the only way it's going to change, I believe.
That, I think, Paul, is the fear here that you just enunciated, where there are people who say, well, if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. They're going to want to know what you're teaching, what textbooks you're using. Are you teaching it to the other standard? Some people who homeschool right now.
Yeah, and I'm all for it, homeschooling. I think that'd be great, especially if I got a tax break on my taxes.
Yeah.
I would do it.
Yeah. Paul, thanks. Appreciate the call there. Paul in West Haven. Now, to Paul's point, as to what they're teaching and how they're teaching it. And I think well, you tell me if this is onerous or not. So these ideas don't send child to appear once a year to provide enrollment documentation. Okay, now 2. The child has now this is one where some of the homeschool parents and guardians and grandma and grandpa, maybe they don't like this one. Provide that the child be annually evaluated for academic progress by an independent entity. All right. What's the evaluation? What's progress? And what's an independent entity? Okay. Number 3, requiring an assessment from districts to determine if there have been any suspected reports of abuse or neglect. Now, that's kind of where the rubber meets the road here. So, again, 3 suggestions here. Number 1, requiring a homeschooling parent and child to appear once a year to provide enrollment documentation. Number 2, the child be annually evaluated for academic progress, whatever that means, by an independent entity, whatever that means. That's me saying that, not the state. And number 3, require an assessment from districts to determine if there have been any reports of suspected abuse or neglect. What do you think? Look, on the surface, to me, those sound reasonable. Now, the question is, will they stay that way? What do you think of this? 203-333-9422. Talk or text 333-WICC.
I've witnessed firsthand the life-changing work of the Bridgeport Rescue Mission. Because of donors like you, they've been able to offer free food, clothing, health services, addiction recovery, and more to help reform the lives of our struggling neighbors, including housing for homeless mothers and children. This month is May Matching. Generous donors will double what you give. $25 becomes $50. $100 becomes $200. Now is the time to double your impact.
Please donate to BridgeportRescueMission.org.
Become a Yankees Universe Fan Club member today. Rookie and Explorer packages are now available. All Yankees Universe members receive a membership card, 2 tickets to a 2025 home game, access to a members-only website, and MLB audio at bat. Rookie tier members will also receive a New York Yankees t-shirt. A portion of all proceeds is donated to Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, benefiting pediatric cancer research. Join Yankees Universe today by visiting yankees.com/universe.
This is of Americans recently surveyed. It doesn't just affect them. It impacts families, workplaces, and entire communities. This Mental Health Awareness Month, let's encourage everyone to take care of their well-being and to help break the stigma, because the world is better with emotionally healthy people. At BetterHelp, we have over 10 years of experience matching you with the right therapist so you can access support from the privacy of home and on your schedule. Give online therapy a try or share it with a loved one. Whether it's for regular maintenance, help with grieving a loss, or to work through your anxiety, it's a great tool for your wellness. We're all better with help. Visit BetterHelp.com/ABC Radio today for 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/ABC Radio.
WICC.
Old Branchfield Road and Bloomer Road because of downed power cables. I'm Natch Krause with WICC Traffic.
A wet evening and overnight on the way with the showers and a thunderstorm with areas of fog late and a low in the mid-50s. More showers and a thunderstorm tomorrow with a high in the upper 60s. Sunny on Thursday with a high near 70. I'm meteorologist Paul Fiorek on WICC.
He'll tell you what's really going on. It's Connecticut Today with Paul Piselli on the voice of Connecticut, WICC 600 and 95.9.
Pretty simple question here to start us off at 203-333-9422. 333 WICC. Do you agree with some lawmakers in Hartford? Not all of them. A lot of them don't like this. Who say the state needs to tighten regulations on homeschooling. And I guess along with this Waterbury case, some lawmakers are pointing to a case that happened about 5 or 6 or 7 years ago. Back in 2018, it says here in the Connecticut Mirror, there was a case in 2018. The Child Advocate's Office issued a report on the case of Matthew Tirado, 17-year-old, diagnosed with autism and an intellectual disability. The Department of Physical Abuse of his sister. His sister was withdrawn from school for homeschooling, and about 3 months later, Matthew died after prolonged abuse and neglect. The office says then in 2023, 2 years ago, a 10-year-old was found locked away and being abused after that 10-year-old was withdrawn from school for homeschooling. Cops went to the house because of a domestic disturbance and found the child had injuries across his body, a broken finger, a cauliflower ear, my God, and was malnourished. Schooling, 30 abuse or neglect that was accepted for investigation. About 8% of the kids lived in families with 4 or more accepted reports. Okay. So when I was growing up, they would say that was some statistically significant numbers there. Now, again, this is not to come down hard on people who do a great job of homeschooling their kids. The vast, 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 vast majority of gun holders, gun owners are respected, law-abiding people. However, 203-333-9422, 333-WICC. So, I mean, it just comes down to this. Would a couple of periodic check-ins help in this situation? Maybe. Could these check-ins have helped in the Waterbury situation? Maybe. But do we also not want to unrealistically infringe on the rights of people who just simply want to abide by the rather loose regulations Connecticut has to homeschool their kids? Andy in Derby here. Andy, what's up with you, sir? How are you?
Paluch.
Yeah.
I don't understand how. I mean, school is to prepare you for college, a trade, life. What do they do? The parent handwrites, say, a diploma for the kids? No marks, no standards, but, you know, I'm a good kid. Let me in.
Well.
But I do think this, like the homeschooling and the situation in Waterbury, sort of two different things.
Yeah.
It's sort of like when, you know, let's go after the gun company for that guy who shot up.
Oh, it's what I said, yeah. Exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
Two different things, you know. Let's chase down all the homeschoolers because of that. But, I mean, there's got to be some standards.
Andy, let me go over some of this. And, Andy, thank you for the call, my friend. Appreciate it. Here's what we have. Homeschool children in Connecticut are not, N-O-T, not, according to this AI search I did here, required to take any standardized tests. Requirements for homeschoolers. Now, while some parents may choose to administer tests like the ACT or the SAT for college prep, that is not a mandate. Says here, while not required, parents can choose to use standardized tests to assess their child's progress. Some districts, if they're watching kids under Connecticut law, says here, can request what's called a portfolio review, which is not a test, Andy, and this might be an answer to your question here. Not a test, but a way to verify that required subjects are being taught. This review is optional and can be declined, as it is not mandated by law. Homeschoolers who plan to attend college may need to take the SAT or the ACT, as many colleges still require those scores for admission. So there you go. Let me switch over to the actual State of Connecticut website here. This is at portal.ct.gov, homeschooling in Connecticut. It is suggested that homeschooling parents do the following: complete the intent to homeschool form for each child annually and give it to a superintendent's office for a signature. You should review the Connecticut Core Standards, providing parents with clear expectations of what a student should know and be able to do at each grade level. You should keep a log of attendance, which reflects the days and hours you actually taught your kids. You have to maintain a portfolio for each child, which contains samples suggested. You should contact potential colleges and universities in order to learn what is required for admission. The Connecticut general statutes require that individuals who are 17 or 18 years of age at the time of the GED registration must submit documentation that they have officially been withdrawn from a Connecticut school for at least 6 months. And homeschool students may take the GED test by registering at a local adult ed program. So this is how they do it. You get homeschooled, and then you apply to take a GED, and you get your Connecticut State High School diploma and the equivalent. All right. So there you go. Interesting it is. But this is the bigger question here. And the question we're hearing here is not so much about curriculum or curricula. Sorry. It's not so much about curriculum. You really hear that. It's the fear here is, I guess, between the Waterbury case and some of these other cases are, let's face it, let me just cut to the chase here. There are psycho-abusive parents pulling their kids out of schools and using the homeschooling, as we should say, umbrella to hide what they're doing. Certainly sounds like there are. Does that make homeschooling bad? No. Does that mean we should come down on it like a ton of bricks? No. But can you understand that some homeschooling parents, like legal gun owners, feel they're being scapegoated? Well, yeah. Traffic and weather together right now on the 6s right here, WICC.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
Working on a wet track out there. At least watch your speeds, please. 95 north over half an hour from Stamford through Fairfield. The Parkway northbound is at least a little bit easier. In Ridgefield, Route 102 is closed in both directions between Old Branchfield Road and Bloomer Road because of downed power cables. I'm Nancy Krause with WICC Traffic.
For this evening and overnight, there will be showers and maybe a thunderstorm with fog late and a low in the mid-50s. More showers and a thunderstorm tomorrow with a high in the upper 60s. Thursday, sunny with a high near 70. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
Rocket.com is the new home for all things home ownership. Whether you're buying your first home, finding your next one, or unlocking home equity to fund one of your dreams, there's only one destination that has everything you need to get started, all under one roof. Get started today at Rocket.com. Rocket, own the dream.
I'm Barbara from Trumbull, and I've used Steve Basso Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning since 2012, when he diagnosed the source of a carbon monoxide problem when no one else could. I use him for maintenance and emergency situations for that reason. He has always been able to fix any problem in my home. There's no one better than Steve Basso.
Back to the news and talk, thanks to Smart MLS. Smart sellers ask, is my home on Smart MLS? The voice of Connecticut, WICC's 695.9. It's Connecticut Today with Paul Piselli.
Okay, let's go to news time here. Rob in Easton. Rob, how are you today? What's up? You got about a minute. Hello, Rob. Rob, are you there? Rob, are you there? Hello, Rob. Rob, are you there? You, sir? Call back, Rob. I'd love to hear from you. I really would. Easton's one of those nice towns in the state where I'm not allowed to be in. The cops see my car. They run the plate. You, Paul Piselli? Yeah, you the guy on the radio? Yeah, get the hell out. That's what they tell me. All right, Henry, hang on. Rob, if you want to give us a call back, we'll get to both of you. but here's the issue for hour number one, and we'll take this over into hour number two. Is it really that crazy to expect Connecticut to tighten its regulations just a little bit? Not come down like a ton of bricks on homeschoolers. I'm not hearing anything about. Now, here's the thing. I would side 100% with the homeschoolers if the state says, well, in order for you to homeschool, you've got to teach about LGBTQ. You've got to go against stuff that violates your religious tendencies. That's not what we're talking about here. But there's a healthy fear that if you open the door just a wee bit.
WICC Bridgeport, WFOX Southport, WEBE HD2 Westport, WPLR HD2 New Haven, locally owned by Connoisseur Media.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Cammie McCormick. In a surprising announcement today, President Trump said the Houthi rebels in Yemen will stop attacking ships in the Red Sea.
They don't want to fight anymore. They just don't want to fight. And we will honor that.
The president did not elaborate, and there was some confusion over where the communication came from. CBS's Nancy Cordes at the White House.
When the president was asked, how do you know that the Houthis are ready to stand down? He said, well, I have it from a very important source, don't I? And he turned to Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
Trump's announcement comes after Israel struck the rebels yesterday.
Airstrikes, and that it has now destroyed the Sana'a International Airport in Yemen's capital.
And the White House press secretary has just confirmed the ceasefire, calling it a massive win for President Trump, who promised to restore the freedom of navigation in the Red Sea. Tomorrow is the deadline for having a real ID. Correspondent Chris Van Cleve on what to expect at the airport.
Flyers that do not have one of these compliant forms of identification should expect to spend more time at that checkpoint. There will be additional security screening. TSA will make an attempt to verify the person is who they say they are, who that ID says they are.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent testified on Capitol Hill today and answered a lot of questions about
they are currently in trade talks with.
And President Trump said again today China wants a meeting and it will happen. CBS News has learned the FDA's top official overseeing food and drug inspections has decided to quit. A new study finds the shingles vaccine can also lower the risk of heart disease. Correspondent Michael Wallace says that.
The study in the European Heart Journal looked at more than 2 million people who have gotten shingles shots since 2012.
We saw a 23% reduction in their risk of cardiovascular events.
CBS News medical contributor Dr. Celine Gounder, editor-at-large for public health at KFF Health News, says that shingles vaccine has since been replaced with a new one, Shingrix.
We are seeing even better vaccine effectiveness, and we're seeing preliminary data showing that it too has cardiovascular protective effects.
Michael Wallace, CBS News.
The Supreme Court's allowing the Trump administration to enforce a ban on transgender people in the military while the legal challenges play out. The court's 3 liberal justices said they would have kept the policy on hold. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive. Protect your auto, home, and business with Progressive and get 24/7 coverage. See if you can save at Progressive.com. That's Progressive.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-230-2777. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-230-2777. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-230-2777. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's .com.
WICC 695.9. Voice of Connecticut Local News Update.
Connecticut is joining a multi-state lawsuit against the Trump administration over their efforts to freeze the development of Donald Trump to enrich the fossil fuel industry and illegally micromanage state businesses. Tong says Connecticut has the right to secure its own energy future and one that makes sense for its climate and costs. A slate of several New England governors have invited Canadian premiers to a meeting in Boston, including Connecticut Governor Ned Lamont. Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey is organizing the gathering to explore the impacts of the Trump administration tariffs and how American and Canadian officials can maintain strong trade relations. In addition to 5 New England governors, New York's governor also extended the invitation to 6 Canadian premiers, including those from Nova Scotia, Ontario, and Quebec. New Hampshire's Republican Governor Kelly Ayotte is not involved. West Haven has received a state grant of close to $2 million to help improve the area around the VA hospital. The money from the state will be used to repave streets and sidewalks around the hospital for veterans and to better connect the area with downtown. Governor Ned Lamont visited West Haven yesterday to celebrate the grant, saying these types of projects make a big difference for the community. The project is in the design stage and should be completed in less than a year. And the University of New Haven this morning announced that it has officially accepted an invitation to 30th, at which Steve that DCC News.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
Parkway northbound accident reported exit 38, 95 north, just about an hour from Greenwich through Fairfield. And on the Wilbur Cross northbound, we have police activity reported between exit 56 and exit 57, and 95 in New Haven, busy but moving through Long Wharf and West Haven. Traffic report is powered by MJ Thomas Jewelers. Looking to buy or sell gold? Visit MJ Thomas Jewelers in Stratford for expert service and great deals. Their knowledgeable staff is there to assist with all your gold needs. For more information, visit mjthomas.com. I'm Andrew Krause with WICC Traffic.
A wet evening and overnight on the way with the showers and a thunderstorm with areas of fog late and a low in the mid-50s. More showers and a thunderstorm tomorrow with a high in the upper 60s. Sunny on Thursday with a high near 70. I'm meteorologist Paul Fiorek on WICC.
You're listening to Connecticut Today with Paul Piselli on WICC 600 and 95.9, the voice of Connecticut.
Hey, State Rep Leslie Zupkus is going to join us later on this hour, right after the news, to talk about what she was hearing from her constituents up at the Capitol yesterday. And cut down on some of these abuse allegations, tighten up the reporting responsibilities or requirements on homeschooling me here. Unless you start honing in or, wading in here on any manner or method of what the parents have to teach. See, that's what these parents are worried about, and I don't blame them. And I know there are some requirements here, but they're the basic requirements, this, that, and the other with math and history and civics and all that. I'll go over that for you in a minute. But it's a pretty basic question. Do you agree with some lawmakers in Hartford, not all, but some, who say Connecticut needs to tighten regulations on homeschooling? Now, one thing that's being proposed here is, or would be, requiring a parent and a child to appear once a year to provide enrollment documentation. Okay. Is it just paperwork? Is there going to be questioning here by an independent entity? What would that be? I don't know. And a required assessment from districts to figure out if there have been any reports of suspected abuse or neglect. Because, look, they've provided documentation. There's a certain percentage of people who homeschool their kids. It's small, thankfully. It's not everybody who homeschools. But, again, talk to the cops, talk to some of the folks at DCF, see what they say. What do you think about this? Rob is in Easton. We'll try again. Hey, Rob, how are you?
Good. How you doing, Paul?
I'm good, Rob. What's on your mind on this? What do you think?
Well, all day about the quality of the education, the safety of the kids. I don't think anybody on either side wants something that's bad for the kids. We all want what's best for the kids. The point is that can we start to limit people's freedom if they're not proven to be have done anything wrong? Have they done anything wrong? You can't tell somebody who walks into a store, which is one of the comments that was made yesterday.
Yeah.
You can't tell someone that walks into a store that we want to see if you stole anything. You came into our store, we want to see if you stole anything. No, you're innocent until proven guilty. Parents are innocent until proven guilty. We have a right to educate our children, and we have an obligation already written that we have to educate our children. Making this law is not going to stop what happened in Waterbury, which, by the way, was a DCF problem.
Well, and that's the other part of the argument, Rob, and I've been mentioning that is, you can still be in favor of some safeguards, but that does not mean that DCF should, escape any scrutiny. And this, Rob, should not be used as a smokescreen to cover for DCF. I agree with you there. Absolutely.
Yeah, because this kid had a DCF case. He had it. You and I both know this isn't going to stop but terrible things from happening.
Yeah.
Things are still going to happen, and it goes along with the gun debate, too. You're not stopping. You're just prohibiting or limiting law-abiding citizens. The people who are going to do bad things are still going to do bad things.
So, Rob, let me ask you, as a parent who you said homeschools 4 kids, God bless you for that in and of itself. So what if they said, hey, Mr. Rob from Easton there, your kids are great, they look good, but we want to institute and or kids to appear once a year to provide enrollment documentation whatever that would mean. How would you feel about it?
Right. No, listen, we're in this state. Mostly, we've thought about leaving before. One of the major reasons why a lot of people stay here and a lot of people move here who homeschool is because the lack of restrictions and regulations on homeschooling. A lot of other states have a lot more. We're not interested in having any regulations because you and I both know it doesn't stop there. It starts with this one little thing, and it grows and it grows, and before you know it, you're having to do things that you never would have decided to do before.
Well, exactly.
But to answer your question.
Yeah, so go ahead. I'm
your
sorry.
Question, no, we're not really in favor of, at least everyone I know of, no. Me personally, we wouldn't be in favor of doing that test for the same reason I mentioned before. We're innocent until proven guilty. We're all going to have to provide this test, and what if we fail? What if I don't want my kid knowing that thing on that test? What if I don't agree with that knowledge and they fail? Then what?
Well,
how do you enforce these rules?
Well, exactly. And Rob, homeschooling front, please, or anything to say about it, don't hesitate. But see, folks, that's the fear. It's the classic, if you give them an inch with all good intents, they're going to end up taking a mile. Back to the phones momentarily on WICC.
You wake up with WICC to start your day, and you keep us on in your car and while you're at work. But there's another place you'll find us, right in your email. Sign up for the WICC newsletter and be the first to know about all the local Fairfield County happenings. Bestofall.com.
Selling your home is a numbers game. The more potential buyers who see it, the greater the opportunity to sell. And when your home is listed on Smart MLS, more than 21,000 realtors see it, and so do all their buyers. Suddenly, the number of people looking at your home starts to grow by a lot. More realtors sharing your listing, more people seeing your home, more offers coming in, and maybe even more cash in your pocket. Smart move, right? Ask your realtor. Is my house on Smart MLS? Smart MLS, the smart way to sell your home.
Experience the Fuelogy and Super Cruise. The Escalade IQ offers undeniable style and uncompromising comfort with the longest range of any electric vehicle SUV. Arrive in style with this pinnacle of modern automotive excellence. Visit CadillacofGreenwich.com today and elevate your driving experience with the iconic 2025 Cadillac Electric Escalade IQ.
Your morning starts with a fresh cup of coffee and total peace of mind. Because with Property Protection Consulting, your home or office is secured and backed by a local company. From livelihood or the ones that matter to you most. For a complimentary evaluation on your home or office, visit ppcalarms.com because real security starts with real protection.
Cityline Florist in Trumbull is now taking orders for Mother's Day. Be sure to order early. Order Mom a gorgeous arrangement of fresh, vibrant flowers she'll be sure to love. Order a gift from the gift shop, a hanging basket, or planter in the greenhouse. When sending florals to your mom, trust Cityline to send anywhere in the country. Cityline Florist, 2978 Nichols Avenue in Trumbull, or citylineflorist.com. A family business with 4 generations serving the community for 107 years.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's 800 Back Taxes. You can now get the help you need. 58936 800-375-8936.
WICC Smart MLS right now.
On the Wilbur Cross northbound, we have moving through Long Wharf and West Haven. Traffic report for expert service and great deals. Their knowledgeable staff is there to assist with all your gold needs. For more information, visit mjthomas.com. I'm Andrew Krause with WICC Traffic.
For this evening and overnight, there will be showers and maybe a thunderstorm with fog late and a low in the mid-50s. More showers and a thunderstorm tomorrow with a high in the upper 60s. Thursday, sunny with a high near 70. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
Saying everything that's on his mind. Connecticut Today with Paul Piselli. WICC 695.9. The voice of Connecticut.
All right, 203-333-9422, 333-WICC. Some folks at the Capitol say, hey, maybe if we had stronger regulations, stronger check-in requirements on homeschooling, the whole Waterbury thing with this young man who was on now a long road to recovery after allegedly being held prisoner by his stepmom for 20-plus years after being pulled out of school may not have happened. And we've heard some people today saying, hey, don't trust what they do in Hartford. Don't trust them being lawmakers, particularly on the majority side, on the Democratic side, who say, hey, we just want to have some safeguards built in. There are people wondering, saying, hey, no, they will take control of the curriculum. Andre, hang on. We'll be right to you. Henry's with. Yeah.
I say, well then, yeah, how about this? I put myself in the other guy's spot. Even if it's people like you say in Hartford, one is saying, I say, well, what does the other side of the table say? I always
that's good.
reflect and think, well, they teach you that in school to do that instead of just listening to somebody with a beer belly. Really, I mean, you're better off, but as I go back and forth with all of this, I can't come up with anything. All I can come up with is our system. You're an American, I'm an American. Taxpayers pay for public schools.
Sure.
Do they not?
Yep.
And every child in America, I've spoken with the lawyers, has the right to go to school.
Absolutely.
Has the right, has the right
free
to go
public,
to school.
Free public education,
And you have the public education. Now, there are parents that have been out there that just looked down 150 years ago, whenever it was, they say, well, I don't want my kids to go into that school because I don't like the kids that go there. I don't like the way they dress. Whatever the reason was, then you have the Catholic school or what you call a private school. Now, some people can't afford the private school. So you go to the public school. Now, they say, well, yeah, but now my hands are tied. My kid has to go. Well, the fact is, if you really want your kid to go to a school with the nuns and all that other stuff, then if you can afford to stay home and give them homeschooling, then you can afford to get minimum wage and pay the school the couple of $100 a week, whatever it costs to go there, because the idea is you want your kid to learn from the nuns and everything.
Okay.
And so I'm just saying, you have like that, you can go to the public school. You can go to both of them.
And Henry,
nobody forces you, but the kid has to go to school.
Oh no,
and if
you
can't afford it.
Yeah.
Then get the job, a McDonald's job, 30 hours a week with the minimum wage the way it is. Any school would take that. You know what? These schools are too expensive. I have an idea to get kids in there because there's a market for it.
Yeah.
People don't want it. So I'm just saying I go back and forth with it. And for the couple of times they have insinuated, I know you're going to hang up on me. The gun thing.
Yes.
They go back and forth with the analogy. It's the same as the guns.
Yeah.
Everybody. Now you said honest, law-abiding citizens that own guns.
Yeah.
Every one of those people, nationwide, by the way.
Yeah.
Over 90%, when they're asked, and your friends too, would you mind if they did a background check on you?
Yeah, I know.
They all say no. They all say I don't mind.
Yeah.
They all say, I would never mind that.
Yeah.
I'm a law-abiding citizen.
Yeah.
They all say that, but yet it never passes.
Well,
That'll
Henry,
tell you about the lobby, won't it?
Of course it will, Henry. Thank you. Yes, yeah. I don't listen. The gun manufacturers have a lobby. The abortion crowd has a lobby. The banks have everybody's got their lobby. Meet you down in the lobby. Let's go to Andre in Derby. He's been hanging on. Andre, good afternoon. How are you?
How's it going, Paul? It's your favorite public school teacher here.
All right.
How's it going?
Good. What's
so
up?
I with the homeschooling.
Yeah.
So I've been in a public school, high school now for about 8 years. It's multi-district and one of the biggest districts in Connecticut.
Okay.
Just put it like that,
All
right?
All right.
Without giving too much detail.
No, that's all right.
Now I get students from all over. I'm going to say every year I get a homeschool student that, like, maybe this is the first year their parents want to introduce them to the public education students from all over who've been going to public ed. They're better. They're more articulate. They're more respectful. So when you have the government and Hartford and all that, they're trying to regulate once again, that situation in Waterbury seemed like an outlier. Most of my homeschool students that I get that come in, they're squared away, they're respectful, they're healthy, they're, maybe some of them have a mental thing that caused them not to go to school for a while, they're for the most part very well students, they're performing really well, better than some of our public school students. So,
Andre, that's what some of the supporters said yesterday of homeschooling, saying, hey, we score as good, if not better.
Public school people are abusing that system. We waste so much time and energy on those students. We waste time and energy on the students who are, let's just be honest, waving, respectful. Their behavior is atrocious. Those students get all the time and energy in these public schools, especially the bigger ones, the bigger districts. I don't blame these parents for keeping their kids home and going through the homeschool route. And that's me as a public school teacher.
Today, Andre gave us his story that I've had friends of mine that have did he retire yet? I don't know. Let's just put it this way. I've had friends of mine, they may be retired now, but some of the stories they tell me, and again, it's not their fault. And sometimes it's not the kid's fault. You know what I mean? As kids, we were all kids, aggressive as a state as we are, and as, what's the word I'm looking for? Generally as administrative as we are. Is that good? We have very, very, very loose regulations as far as homeschooling. I read you some of the few regulations we have. They're mostly suggestions. They basically tell parents, hey, you know what? If you want to homeschool, you just fill out these forms. And if your kid, your son, your daughter, grandson, granddaughter, if they have to get a GED, here's what they have to do. And then if you want to get into college, the SATs or the ACTs, that's generally a good idea. Now, there are some people saying, hey, because of what happened in Waterbury, maybe. Now, they're not suggesting anything as far as curriculum, but what they are suggesting is maybe a once-a-year check-in just to make sure things are all right. But you've already heard from a few folks, today saying, hey, we don't trust the check-in. We don't. It's a matter of trust, as Billy Joel used to sing years ago. Traffic and weather together right here, right now, WICC.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
Parkway northbound accident reported exit 38, 95 north, just about an hour from Greenwich through Fairfield. And on the Wilbur Cross northbound, we have police activity reported between exit 56 and exit 57, and 95 in New Haven, busy boat movement through Long Wharf and West Haven. Traffic report is powered by MJ Thomas Jewelers. Looking to buy or sell gold? Visit MJ Thomas Jewelers in Stratford for expert service and great deals. Their knowledgeable staff is there to assist with all your gold needs. For more information, visit mjthomas.com. I'm Mitch Krause with WICC Traffic.
A wet evening and overnight on the way with the showers and a thunderstorm with areas of fog late and a low in the mid-50s. More showers and a thunderstorm tomorrow with a high in the upper 60s. Sunny on Thursday with a high near 70. I'm meteorologist Paul Fiorek on WICC.
You're listening to WICC 600 and 95.9, the voice of Connecticut, broadcasting from Cadillac of Greenwich Studios, CadillacofGreenwich.com.
No part of your home is more important than the roof over your head. Hi, I'm Eddie Griffin, the owner of Brown Roofing, your local expert for roof replacement and roof repair. Water resistant, weather resistant, wind resistant, our products offer superior protection that come with a 50-year lifetime transferable warranty. Call us today at 475-445-1195 or visit us at brownroofing600.com. Brown won't let you down.
Hey, it's Melissa Sheketoff, host of Melissa in the Morning here on The Voice of Connecticut. Back on April 9th, I helped to kick off the MADE series. It was the first of a series of leadership events with some very key business players here in Connecticut. Don't worry if you missed it. There's going to be more, and there's a podcast on voiceofct.com if you want to catch up. Listen, if you want to stay ahead of the curve in business and build game-changing connections, you need to get to Connecticut-MADE.com. Get information, entrepreneurship, and business growth. Be sure to get registered right now and join me, WTNH News 8, and the CBIA for MADE New Haven. Join us at the epicenter of ideas and impact for your path in 2025. Get MADE and go to Connecticut-MADE.com. That's Connecticut-MADE.com.
This is WICC 695.9, the voice of Connecticut.
CBS News Brief. President Trump hosted the new Canadian Prime Minister at the White House today. There was an awkward moment when Trump was asked if he still wants Canada to be the 51st state.
There are tremendous benefits to the Canadian citizens, tremendously lower taxes, free military, which honestly we give you essentially anyway because we're protecting Canada if you ever had a problem.
Nicole Scanga reports the deadline for having a real ID is quickly approaching.
The deadline to get your real ID is tomorrow. Only 81% of the country compliant.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said you will still be allowed to fly tomorrow without one, but there will be added scrutiny at airports. Ballots will be cast starting tomorrow for a new pope, French Cardinal Jean-Paul Vesco.
I'm ready. I think I'm ready for the first vote, and then I will see.
The vote will happen in the Sistine Chapel, which is under a news blackout until a decision is made. CBS News Brief, I'm Cammie McCormick.
WICC 695.9, Voice of Connecticut Local News Update.
A developer wants to transform a vacant 3-story office building in Stratford into 14 affordable apartments. The former medical office building on Honey Spot Road near Lord Apartments, 2 studios, and a pair of 2-bedroom apartments. All 14 units would be considered affordable under state law and would be offered to people earning 80% of the median income in the area. The former principal of a Danbury school accused of misusing funds has been denied a special form of probation. A judge has found that 56-year-old Jennifer Blue of Oxford is not eligible for accelerated rehabilitation that would have cleared her record after she completed probation. Blue was arrested in October for allegedly using a West Side Middle School Academy credit card to make unauthorized purchases and withdrawals. Negotiations will now resume between prosecutors and Blue's attorney on a possible plea deal. Jury selection was expected to begin today in Milford Superior Court for the trial of the teen accused of killing Fairfield prep student Jimmy McGrath at a house party in Shelton in 2022. The defendant, Raul Valley, was 16 years old at the time. He allegedly stabbed McGrath and injured 3 other students during a fight outside the party. A jury has acquitted a Bridgeport man of murder, but convicted him of first-degree manslaughter for a 2022 homicide in the city in July. The strike by around 3,000 machinists at Pratt and Whitney
they're making over here
in a difficult marketplace. Payer College of Art in Bridgeport is permanently closed after 79 years of operation. Last week, students who had been enrolled at Payer were informed that the school is now closed for good. Payer officials say all student academic records will be transferred to a third party designated by the financial issues and declining enrollment led to the decision to close the pre-K through 8th grade school. State Senator Jason Perillo is also chair of the school's board of directors and says this is a painful but necessary decision. An event is scheduled at Holy Trinity Thursday afternoon for parents and students to learn about other nearby Catholic schools. Experts are warning that we are now at peak tick season in Connecticut. In addition to deer and dog ticks, residents should also be on the lookout for the invasive Asian longhorn and Lone Star species, which are growing in numbers statewide. If you are bitten by a tick, experts at the State Environmental Science and Forestry Lab suggest that you send it in for testing to determine your risk. Dr. Godard Mollet spoke with WFSB Channel 3 about the variety of information testing can give you.
What kind of risk they are at and what's the scope of the risk. And then we determine the engorgement status to somewhat estimate the amount of time those ticks have been on people.
If you're a dog owner, you should also make sure to check them before they come inside. And hundreds of homeschooling parents and children gathered at the state capitol to oppose proposed new regulations. The new rules have been introduced in response to the case of a Waterbury man who was withdrawn from school, then allegedly imprisoned in his family home for 2 decades. Some homeschooling families yesterday said that lawmakers are using the Waterbury case to restrict freedom to teach their children. Westport Democratic State Senator Cece Marr told WTNH TV News 8 that the difficulty is balancing safety with educational freedom.
What we're looking at is how do we thread this needle of keeping children safe and supporting homeschooling?
State Republicans are taking issue with the bill as well. According to Channel 8, Senate Minority Leader, Republican from Brookfield, Steve Harding, believes that the state is using homeschooling as a scapegoat.
Where's the informational hearing on DCF? Where's that informational hearing? That should have been done.
A thunderstorm tomorrow with a high in the upper 60s. Thursday, sunny with a high near 70. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC
600 and 95.9, the voice of Connecticut.
Suggestions by the Office of the Child Advocate to maybe put some safeguards in there, saying maybe if these legislators that got an earful yesterday, Republican State Rep Leslie Zupkus back on the program. Leslie represents the 89th House District, Cheshire, Waterbury, Bethany, and the town of Prospect. Leslie, it's Paul again. Good to have you back. How are you?
Hi, thank you, Paul. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Big crowd yesterday. What did you and the other legislators hear all day at the Capitol? Now, Leslie, I've taken about 90 minutes of phone calls on this, and a lot of the homeschool people that call me are not happy about what was suggested yesterday. But what are your thoughts?
Well, they shouldn't be happy, Paul. Yesterday, the Democrats want to do something with homeschooling, and the horrific incident in Waterbury really had nothing to do with homeschooling. Even though the mother said she was going to pull them out, we know that that was never going to happen. And even if there was a law in place, what they want to implement or something else, that mother would not have come and had her child enrolled into the school, would not have been. It's just trouble for, they're doing a broad brush when we should be focusing on a small part. Which is a serious part that needs to be looked at, by the way. That's
the point. The people that have talked to me, Les, all of a sudden now they feel it might, even if it's like it's just a yearly check-in, hey, he looks good, how's he doing? There's a fear, Leslie, fair or not, that this could stray into, say, curriculum.
Oh, of course. It could stray into curriculum. It could stray into vaccines. It could stray into so many things. And you know what? There is a problem out there. There is no doubt about it. There are kids falling through the cracks in our public school systems also. And so these cases have nothing. I was around horrific at what happened. And so let's look at the people that are pulling their kids out that have a DCF substantiated case. Let's focus, because something needs to be done, whether it's DCF, whatever, so this doesn't happen. But we also need to look at our public school systems. What about the kid in Branford? That was horrible.
Oh,
and
my God.
That had nothing to do with homeschooling. So, the homeschoolers do a fabulous job. Their kids, even it was mentioned how polite they were. They sat there all day. They are really do a great job. Teen PAC is a wonderful event that's done at the Capitol. That's not where we need to be focusing.
Republicans.
And that's where the Republicans, we stand with.
You said something interesting there a few seconds ago. Maybe then a suggestion to possibly tie in, for example, and work with maybe DCF on this to make sure there's a little bit better of a safety net here, not necessarily trolling for all homeschooling parents, but if there are certain indicators, then maybe a course of action here?
Without a doubt, yes. DCF, as I said to the commissioner yesterday, I would never want her job.
Oh, my God. Oh.
Parents have, the Toronto case, the parents didn't have to let them in the house, and the mother didn't. So we just really have to look at that. We have to look at records of substantiated cases. We have to look at a lot of things, I think, in the DCF system. And the commissioner said she was open to looking at things that can make that better. The one thing I think we also need to look at is how SDE and DCF communicate on children that have substantiated cases or whatever. So I think, that was talked about when I was ranking on children's and it happened. So, are there when a DCF case is substantiated and people are pulling their kids out of school, or truancy? I mean, how many children in our school systems right now?
Yeah.
We have children graduating from high school and cannot read.
Can't read. No.
When we have teacher shortages. So how is all of this? It's just, we need to focus on this really specific things that would really, hopefully, these things would never happen again.
Yeah. Republican.
As I said, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, Leslie got a little short on time here. Republican Leslie Zupkis, State House, District 89, Cheshire, Waterbury, Prospect, and Bethany. Leslie, thanks. And let's dig in. Let's dig in a little deeper to DCF, and maybe they can, help the situation a little more. Yep.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Take care.
Leslie, thanks. There you go. Well, she's right. Is this just a smokescreen to protect DCF? By the way, how long have we been trying to fix DCF? And God bless the caseworkers there. But, man, what has this been, 20, 30, 40, 45 years? We've been trying to, quote-unquote, fix DCF, and it just never happens. Back to the phones. All the news coming up right here at WICC.
How low can you go? No, it's not a limbo contest. We're asking about how low can the radon level in your home go? With Apex Radon Solutions as your trusted local radon mitigation expert, the answer is lower than you.
Ganem Injury Lawyers. Attorney George Ganem has helped clients involved in news-making tragedies to clients who've been quietly struggling and suffering after an accident. No matter the case or the injury, you don't have to go at it alone. Ganem Injury Lawyers will fight for the justice and compensation you deserve. Don't wait. GanemInjuryLawyers.com or call 203-713-8383.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation.
Call 800-838-8614. 800-838-8614. That's 800.
Branch to Bridgeport. Some breaks along the way through. The Lower Merritt is a better ride right now. Cleared an earlier problem out of New Canaan. Wilbur Cross on the northbound side. We have construction ongoing going into the tunnel. Stay to the left to get around it. I'm Edge Krause at WICC Traffic.
A wet evening for 60s. Sunny on Thursday with a high.
Our phone lines are always open. 203-333-9422. Connecticut Today with Paul Pizzelli on WICC 600 and 95.9. The voice of Connecticut.
Gotta tell you, man, for those folks on the White House press corps, it's one thing I was never able to do in my reporting career was cover the White House. I did the Capitol a lot of city halls, but man, never a dull moment. The new Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, and President Trump sitting there today side by side arguing over whether Canada should become the 51st state. God love that. Linda Kenyon, you hear CBS News. She's with us right now. Linda, how are you? Never a dull moment, Linda, correct?
That is, in fact, an understatement, yes. The entire White House press corps does not get a lot of sleep. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, you guys, and God bless you, because I've talked to people who've covered the White House before. You know, previous presidencies, the Clinton White House, the Bush White House, even Trump won. But, there's something different for you guys every day. There's no breather.
No, and the president is fond of posting on social media all hours of the day and night. And so we have to be on that as well. So, yeah I don't think he sleeps.
Well, they say you know it's true. One of my regular guests used to work. It's true. Yeah, unbelievable, unbelievable. So talk to my listeners here about what was happening here, Mr. Trump and the Prime Minister today. I guess a trade deal is still front and center, maybe along with annexing Canada. What's up with all this?
Well, the Prime Minister, Mark Carney, came to the White House. They had a bilateral meeting. He says that it would be a great marriage. He says that the United States would provide free military, that taxes would go down, and that it's a win-win situation for Canadians. And the Prime Minister came in and said, some things are not for sale, Mr. President, and much like Buckingham Palace, Canada is not for sale, and it never will be. But he tried not to be confrontational about it. He said, "But what's important is that we need to talk about our partnership and how we can go forward." He did point out when it comes to the trade tariffs, the president saying we don't need Canadian cars, we don't need Canadian steel, we don't need Canadian aluminum. Carney said, well, the U.S. and Canada are our largest trading partners, and most cars that come into the United States from Canada are, in fact, 50% American. In other words, a lot of the parts and then the assembly. So, he didn't say outright refusing any tariffs. Right now, they're at 25% against Canadian-made cars. Mm-hmm. And auto parts, but he did kind of say, look, we have to come to some kind of an agreement here. But what we're not going to agree on ever is making Canada the 51st state.
No, don't think it's going to happen. I'll go out on a limb, Linda, and said that's probably not going to happen. There you go. There's my reportage for the day on international affairs. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, watching all this. Linda, as always, thank you, and have a happy rest of the week. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks. Appreciate it. There you go. It's just, now look, for some reason, he says this stuff. Of all political stripes. And somebody in the office came up to me one day and said, is he serious about Canada? I said, no, he's not. Of course he's not. But what Donald Trump has done over the years, and he used to talk about this. I saw him once mention this, I think, in the heyday when Larry King used to have him on, and Oprah loved him. Oh, Donald, when she used to have him on all the time. He has always talked about, even in his ghost-written books, now, doesn't mean people have to like this, though. Don't get me wrong. But he's always talked about, and I remember listening to these segments with him, about keeping the other side off balance when he's trying to get his way. Now, he's not going to get his way for Canada, okay? We're not going to have one gigantic, ginormous 51st state. Heck, Puerto Rico would become a 51st state before Canada would. The District of Columbia, the nation's capital, has a better claim to becoming state 51 than Canada does. But the reason he does this is, for some reason, he knows that this will suck up the energy in a room. It will suck up the time, raw time, minutes and seconds on a newscast. Absurd, you're still talking about him. You know what I like in this, too? And this is why he does this stuff. He understands a precept of marketing and public relations. Just spell my name right. That's it. He comes from that old New York City, and if he could have won and if he could have served 3 terms, he would have almost won a 3rd term. So there goes that theory. And why Elon Musk why Tesla makes the Cybertruck. I have friends of mine say, "Oh my God, that Cybertruck, it's so ugly. Who would buy one?" What practical? He crammed every bit of high tech Elon Musk did into that thing. And it so upsets everybody. 6 or 8 cameras, and these idiots are thinker. Of course, the Tesla Cybertruck is impractical. Have you ever seen anything in the carry bed? Of course not. Well, the truck is ugly. It's supposed to be ugly. You know why? You'll react to it. How many times have you reacted to a Ford F-150? None, because there's a gazillion of them on the road. Same thing with a Dodge Ram. Same thing with a GMC pickup. Oh, yeah, I saw 8 of those today. But you see the Tesla Cybertruck, and you generally think one of two things. I like Elon Musk. He's a little nuts, but I like him. Or, my God, that guy from Doge, I can't stand him. But, just like Trump, you're mentioning the name. That's why we supposedly are going to annex Canada. God. It's like a Vegas lounge act. Traffic and weather together right here on WICC.
W on the way through. The Lower Merritt is a better ride right now. Cleared an earlier problem out of New Canaan. Wilbur Cross on the northbound side. We have construction ongoing going into the tunnel. Stay to the left to get around it. I'm Edge Krause with WICC Traffic.
For this evening and overnight, there will be showers and maybe a thunderstorm with fog late and a low in the mid-50s. More showers and a thunderstorm tomorrow with a high in the upper 60s. Thursday, sunny with a high near 70. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
Rocket.com is the new home for all things home ownership. Whether you're buying your first home, finding your next one, or unlocking home equity to fund one of your dreams, there's only one destination that has everything you need to get started, all under one roof. Get started today at Rocket.com. Rocket, own the dream.
Looking for a quick primary care appointment? Start here. Hartford Healthcare Medical Group offers appointments right away, often the next day, with skilled clinicians who partner with you to get you healthy and keep you healthy. We're here for you, whether it's an illness, chronic condition, or a physical, with offices throughout Fairfield County. Visit hartfordhealthcare.org/primary care. That's hartfordhealthcare.org/primary care.
Touchdowns, goals, spikes. What was this week's Play of the Week in local high school sports? Check out the High School Sports Play of the Week at therudinreport.com. See and subscribe. Powered by the new Genesis of Ridgefield, located in Norwalk.
Back to the news and talk, thanks to Smart MLS. Smart sellers ask, is my home on Smart MLS? The voice of Connecticut. WICC's 695.9. It's Connecticut Today with Paul Piselli.
And again, you look up at the TV here. This is how Trump operates. I'm sorry, the president operates. I'm looking at, what is this, CNN here. And across the, what they call the lower third, the headline, the scroll here, source, Trump considering limiting payments to college athletes, which tomorrow it'll be this. This is how he operates. And some of you may love it. Some of you may not care. Some of you may despise it. He throw 37 different things at a wall every day and hoping one or two of them stick. And by that, he sucks up all the media air in the room and, at the same time, keeps people like Chris Murphy, with all due respect, off balance, and AOC and Bernie, because they have no idea what to do here. They have none.
EBE HD2 Westport, WPLR HD2 New Haven, locally owned by Connoisseur Media.
McCormick, President Trump says the Houthi rebels in Yemen, who have been attacking ships for years in the Red Sea, have capitulated.
They don't want to be bombed anymore, you know. Sort of thought that would happen.
The State Department spokeswoman Tammy Bruce.
Neither side and the smooth flow of international commercial shipping.
Israel struck the rebels overnight, wiping out the airport in Yemen's capital and hitting several power plants and tunnels. President Trump hosted Canada's new prime minister at the White House today. Linda Kenyon reports.
The president said trade tariffs against Canada are necessary.
Why are we subsidizing Canada $200 billion a year, or whatever the number might be? It's a very substantial number.
Prime Minister Carney called Trump a transformational president, but suggested that Trump will never make Canada the 51st state.
It's not for sale, won't be for sale, ever.
To be fought in the courts, but while it's fought, the Supreme Court has deferred to the administration.
Legal analyst Lori Levinson.
The Trump order is particularly controversial.
Office. The percentage is 81%. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said today you'll still be able to fly. We'll be able to fly fly without one, but expect delays at the airport for additional screening. Attorney General Pam Bondi announced what she said is the largest fentanyl seizure in U.S. history. She says more than 3 million pills were seized, and members of a drug. She says more than 3 million pills were seized, and members of a drug cartel arrested.
You search resumes, wait for the right candidates to apply. Sending and schedule. You search resumes, wait for the right candidates to apply. Sending and scheduling.
Go to unionized workers hit the picket line early yesterday morning after failing to reach a new contract with the company and its parent RTX Corporation. The unions representing the striking employees say the jet engine maker has brought in replacement workers to fill the void while the strike is ongoing. WTNH TV News 8 spoke with East Hartford Democratic State Senator Saad Anwar, who emphasized the importance of Pratt & Whitney on both a state and national level.
It's critical for our economy, but also for our country. In very uncertain times, Pratt & Whitney serves as a very important base for the machines and the work that we are making over here.
Pratt & Whitney says their offer to the union would provide competitive compensation while ensuring the company can grow in a difficult marketplace. Jury selection began today in Milford Superior Court for the trial of the teen accused of killing Fairfield Prep student Jimmy McGrath at a house party in Shelton in 2022. The defendant, Raul Valley, was 16 years old at the time. He allegedly stabbed McGrath and injured 3 other students during a fight outside the party. Holy Trinity Catholic Academy in Shelton is closing for good at the end of the academic year. The Diocese of Bridgeport indicates that financial issues and declining enrollment led to the decision. Event is scheduled at Holy Trinity Thursday afternoon for parents and students to learn about other nearby Catholic schools. Payer College of Art in Bridgeport is permanently closed after 79 years of operation. Last week, students who had been enrolled at the Great Wolf Lodge, Mashantucket, at Foxwoods Casino Resort. The new attraction features a 91,000 square foot water park, a 61,000 square foot adventure park, and around 550 hotel rooms. Other features include duck pin bowling, a 24-hour game arcade, and multiple dining options. Governor Ned Lamont was on hand for today's ribbon-cutting ceremony at the new attraction. I'm Chris Williams with WICC News.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
95 northbound, plan on an hour from Greenwich to Bridgeport. Some breaks along the way. The Parkway definitely a little bit easier overall. Through New Haven, busy but moving through Long Wharf and West Haven. And in Ridgefield, Route 102 is closed between Old Branchfield Road and Entenore. Give your family and yourself the most important gift you can give, peace of mind. Visit ConnecticutElderLaw.com. I'm Edge Krause with WICC Traffic.
A wet evening and overnight on the way with the showers and a thunderstorm with areas of fog late and a low in the mid-50s. More showers and a thunderstorm tomorrow with a high in the upper 60s. Sunny on Thursday with a high near 70. I'm meteorologist Paul Fiorek on WICC.
Of Connecticut.
As the reverberations, if you will, are still being felt from a big gathering yesterday, several hundred, maybe a couple of thousand people at the state capitol saying, hey, let's not over-regulate homeschooling here, even though we did have the result or that investigation going on now from that horrible situation in Waterbury a few months ago where we found that a guy ends up setting a fire to escape some 20 years of alleged. Do you agree with some lawmakers in Hartford? Now, not everybody is agreeing with this or proposing something, but do you agree with some lawmakers in Hartford who say Connecticut needs to tighten regulations on homeschooling? Now, why would they say that? What's the connection with Waterbury? Well, the notion is that if, in fact, the mother in the case, the person facing the stepmother, we should say, facing these charges, if, in fact, there was better communication or random check-ins ordered by law, this guy might not have spent 20 years allegedly in captivity. Some of the things that they are suggesting the Office of the Child Advocate wants to require a parent and a child to appear once a year to provide enrollment documentation. They want a change that would make the child annually evaluated for academic progress by an independent entity, reports of suspected abuse or neglect. Now, a lot of the folks who homeschool say, and that will only lead to them telling me what I have to teach about this and that and gender issues and LGBTQ issues that a lot of people don't want to have to submit to. In fact, that's why a lot of people take their kids out of schools. You can judge them on that or not. So I asked the question, do you agree with some lawmakers in Hartford who say Connecticut needs to tighten regulations on homeschooling? Personally, be a better coordination between the schools and DCF if there is a child who's pulled out. Chris, what do we have for responses to my utterly probing question?
We'll start with the simple ones where Louise says yes, says, yeah, you know what Connecticut is lacking? Government overreach.
Sounds like Lou was oozing with cynicism there. Yes. What else?
Douglas says we can Hartford can take their regulations and shove them. And Judy says they aren't targeting homeschooling per se. They are targeting kids who may be forgotten. No schooling, no health care. Someone needs to be looking out for the kids that may end up like the poor guy who set the fire to escape his stepmother. Remember, he was a 10-year-old boy removed from school.
Yep. All right. Chris, thank you. The question, it'll be up there ad infinitum. These questions do not come down. Do you agree with some lawmakers in Hartford who say Connecticut needs to maybe tighten up regulations just a bit on homeschooling? You know what? I kind of...
Melissa in the Morning Diner Tour. Every Thursday morning, join Melissa Sheketoff as she broadcasts live from diners across Fairfield County.com. And join us. Presented by Maritime Chevrolet, AARP Connecticut, and Connecticut Education Association.
The Greater Bridgeport Symphony is proud to present something big. Maestro Eduardo Leandro's grand inaugural concert as GBS's new music director and principal conductor 10th at 7:30 p.m. It's Mother's Day Eve. Bring your mom to the Klein Memorial Auditorium in Bridgeport. Tickets $18 to $72, sponsored by the Ernest and Joan Treffs Foundation. Get tickets now at gbs.org. Greater Bridgeport Symphony.
Repair your car with confidence at Sono Collision, Fairfield County's premier destination for top to pre-loss perfection. We prioritize your family's safety when it comes to fixing your car. Trust the care and precision of Sono Collision, because after a collision, you deserve quality repairs and peace of mind. Visit us today at sonocollision.com. That's sonocollision.com. Your car will thank you.
Hey, Yankees fans, gather a group of 10 or more and take advantage of our 2025 Yankees group ticket specials. Whether you're getting together with family and friends, organizing a fundraiser, or entertaining clients, your group will love bonding over the Bronx Bombers. Start playing Yankees or email us at groups@yankees.com. That's 2025 group tickets. Call 212-YANKEES or visit yankees.com/groups today.
Columbia Dental invites you to come to their Norwalk office for your entire family's dental health. It is their mission to provide you with comprehensive dental care you and your family deserve. Visit Columbia Dental in Norwalk, located at 91 East Avenue, open 5 days a week, or visit their Manchester location at 483 Middle Turnpike West, open 7 days a week.
This is any start in or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes. You can now get the help you need. One simple phone is back taxes. You can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax. 8936 800-375-8936 800-375
Smart MLS.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
95 northbound, plan on an hour from Greenwich to Bridgeport. Some breaks along the way. The Parkway definitely a little bit easier overall. Through New Haven, busy but moving through Long Wharf and West Haven, and visit Connecticut Elder.
Late and a low in the mid-50s. More showers and a thunderstorm tomorrow with a high in the upper 60s. Thursday, sunny with a high near 70. I'm meteorologist Paul Piorek on WICC.
Saying what you need to hear. Connecticut Today with Paul Piselli, only on WICC 600 and 95.9. the voice of Connecticut.
And we love to check in monthly with this gentleman. You can find his musings, his writings, stellar and clear as they are, at chrispowellcolumn.com. chrispowellcolumn.com, former boss at the Journal-Enquirer of Manchester. Mr. Powell, good afternoon, sir. How are you?
I'm good, Paul, and I don't mean to try to commandeer your show, but
yes.
Would you mind if I chimed in a little bit as to the homeschooling
go, Chris,
hearing?
Go right ahead, because I've taken about 2 hours of phone calls on it. So go ahead, sir. Yes.
Well, I think it's a great idea that the homeschooling parents should be required to show the achievement of their kids every year and produce evidence of their safety. But if this idea, which was really proposed by the acting child advocate this week, and I think it's only obvious, if that's a good idea, how come we don't do that in public school? We don't test the public school kids for their achievement. I'm to the contrary. Our only policy in public school and education in Connecticut is social promotion. You don't have to learn anything.
Keep the conga line moving, right, Chris?
Yeah. There's no testing for the public school kids. They are graduated regardless of their learning. And a bunch of our cities in Connecticut have what they call a minimum 50 policy, the essence of which is to prohibit teachers from failing any student, even if they learn nothing and don't show up in class. So if we're going to test the homeschool kids, how come we're not testing the public school kids? Secondly, if we're worried about the safety at home of the homeschool kids, which is a fair concern, why aren't we worried about the public school kids' safety? We have a huge chronic absenteeism problem of students in Connecticut. The state average for chronic absenteeism is about 19%. When it was last calculated in New Haven's high schools, it recently got up to 50%. Now, if 50% of the kids in a high school are chronically absent, they're doing something else during the day, and very often they're getting in trouble. We were always reading about lower education kids, high school and below, who are getting injured or even shot and killed in the cities in Connecticut. They're getting in trouble with drugs and the law. But we don't require the parents to produce them to any state official to check on their safety. If making parents prove the educational attainment of their kids is a good idea, and making parents prove the safety of their kids at home is a good idea. Why don't we do it for the public schools too?
I think, Chris, I believe you ventured into what all my friends and relatives who are lawyers always say. I don't ask a question in court unless I know what the answer is.
Well, I know what the answer is. State government doesn't want to take responsibility for the catastrophe of public education. Let's start up a controversy about homeschooling, which affects a few thousand kids, and it'll be a wonderful distraction from the failure of state government to enforce any standards in public education.
100% right on this, Chris. And speaking of a ruckus and everything, I had to kind of laugh a couple of weeks back, about a week and a half ago, when we had this, ICE did something in broad daylight, which is what the left always asked about. They didn't go to a school or to a church. They went to a courthouse. They waited for a due process to shake out in Middletown, and there were no local cops involved. Yet, the governor, and you write a piece about this, everybody, and you do criticize immigration to a point as far as the enforcement, but, some of this stuff now is utterly laughable, Chris, especially as to what happened in Middletown.
Yeah, the governor and the mayor in Middletown and the police chief, they were sore that ICE didn't inform them of this raid in advance. Well, wait a minute. We're a sanctuary state. If ICE had informed, the Middletown cops probably would have, told the suspect to get out of town. We do all we can in Connecticut to thwart immigration enforcement. So why the hell would the immigration agents tell state authorities what they're doing when state authorities, want to obstruct their job? It's just insane.
Chris, I wonder, and I played the audio here on the show, and you hear it, and you see the same sound bites everybody else. the governor saying, hey, we're welcoming, come on in, come on in. Look, you and I both realize Ned Lamont is not a dumb man. You don't get to be elected and have the wealth he and Annie have with being stupid. I wonder if sometimes, Chris, he says these things because he has to, from a political point of view, because he can, some of the stuff he says, with all due respect, he can't be serious.
Well, I'm sure he's, worried about staying on reasonably good terms with the crazy left and the Democratic Party. But, he keeps equating legal immigrants with illegal immigrants. That was his remark the other day. I want everyone to feel welcome here. Well, nobody in journalism seems to have asked him, well, do you mean you want illegal immigrants to feel welcome here? Are you making any distinction between legal and illegal immigrants? I've never seen him make that distinction, but, that's, politically opportune for him. But I do wonder, why journalism keeps failing its responsibility to put the question to him. Are there any differences between legal and illegal immigrants? Do you think that every immigrant in the country should be vetted to a certain extent, or is it okay? Are you okay?
In our business, and this happens because you and I have covered people, and this has happened to us, I think, Chris, they don't want to be yelled at. They don't want to ask a tough question, and then as they're packing up their gear, the governor's spokesperson comes over to them or some high-ranking Democrat and say, where the heck do you get off asking that in front of microphones? Forget your access for an exclusive. You know what I mean?
Well, that can be some of it. I think it's more likely a matter of the politics of the journalists in Connecticut. 99% of them are at least liberal. I think most of them are probably far less liberal, and you can see it by how they spin their coverage. These questions that are, there's some legitimate issues in the immigration business, and President Trump can be pretty reckless. He can even be cruel, but. Do we really want the borders to be open? Do we really want everybody to be welcome in Connecticut? Everybody without asking? Are we totally insensible to the crimes that have been committed by thousands of illegal immigrants? Which is not to say that most illegal immigrants are criminals, but some are, many are. Shouldn't everybody be vetted? Is the governor's position, the position of the legislature, that anybody who breaks into the country illegally and makes his way to the sanctuary state of Connecticut or the sanctuary city of New Haven should be exempt from federal immigration law enforcement? That seems to be their position. But again, I've never seen any journalist put that question to the governor or any legislator to ask him, is this what you really mean, that there should be no immigration enforcement in Connecticut?
It's mind-numbing. And finally, Chris, this Terrence Cheng situation, the chancellor there at the State University and College System. Hey, Terrence, you're fired, but here's the rest of your money. Excuse me, Chris? This is just maddening, but you know what? We can all scream about it. It's not going to change.
No, I understand the reason they made the Board of Regents of the Connecticut State Colleges and the university system may have for not just booting him out. They say he has a contract.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think that contract has been published. The story now should be, what does the contract say, and is there no provision in the contract that would allow him to be fired by the board? And secondly, why are we issuing contracts like this? the dollars a year, and of course the Democrats shot that right down. It didn't have a public hearing. Well, you know what? The Democrats will pass any legislation without a public hearing if they really want to do it. But here's something the Republicans pointed out that's really a good issue. What are we doing with all these stupid contracts? These spectacularly expensive contracts. Shouldn't somebody be looking at them? Why shouldn't the legislature look look at them. No, sorry, we've got to shut this issue off right away before it embarrasses the administration more.
And for some reason, Chris, finally buying $60 steaks on the state credit card, that doesn't register. I don't know about you, but I never.
That probably registered most about the scandal.
Yeah.
But, the guy's wage salary was $442,000 a year. He was getting a housing benefit and a car benefit. He was taking thousands of dollars in exchange for promising to move to Connecticut. He took the money. He never moved. I mean, this was living the high life, and at the same time, he was pleading poverty on behalf of the college system he supervised. There's no poverty there. You've got people making $200,000 all over the place.
Absolutely. ChrisPowellColumn.com. Check it out. Chris, as usual, thanks. Take care, and we'll chat down the road.
Thank you, Paul.
Appreciate it. ChrisPowellColumn.com. Mr. Powell lays it out like no one else here in the beautiful...
Right now, traffic.
95 northbound, plan on an hour from Greenwich to Bridgeport. Some breaks along the way. The Parkway definitely a little bit easier overall. Through New Haven, busy but moving through Long Wharf and West Haven. And in Ridgefield, Route 102 is closed between Old Branchville Road and Bloomer Road because of down power cables. Traffic report is powered by the Fairfield Law Office of Eliason and Tenor. Give your family and yourself the most important gift you can give, peace of mind. Visit ConnecticutElderLaw.com. I'm Andrew Krause with WICC Traffic.
A wet evening and overnight on the way with the showers and a thunderstorm. There is a fog late and a low in the mid-50s. More showers and a thunderstorm tomorrow with a high in the upper 60s. Sunny on Thursday with a high near 70. I'm meteorologist Paul Biorek on WICC.
You're listening to WICC 600 and 95.9, the voice of Connecticut, broadcasting from Cadillac of Greenwich Studios, CadillacofGreenwich.com.
This is the Duchess Restaurant Concert Guide. Duchess Restaurants. Fresh food served fast.
Thursday, May 15th, it's Paula Cole at the Kate at 7:30. Friday, May 16th, Cool at 8 p.m. Thursday, May 29th, it's Blues Traveler at the Capitol Theater. Show starts at 8 p.m. On Saturday, June 7th, it's Debbie Gibson at Foxwoods Resort Casino in the Grand Cedar Showroom. Sunday, June 8th, it's Halsey at Mohegan Sun Arena. Show starts at 7. Monday, June 9th, it's Amy Mann at the Ridgefield Playhouse. And on Sunday, June 15th, Suzanne Vega also at the Ridgefield Playhouse.
The Duchess Restaurant Concert Guide. Whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, get fresh food served fast at any one of our 12 Duchess restaurants located throughout Connecticut. Duchess Restaurants. Fresh food served fast.
Hey, it's Steve Basso from Steve Basso Plumbing, Heating, and AC again. There's no better time than right now to service or repair that AC system. Even install new or replace your existing system. Did you know high-efficiency 335-0224? That's 203-335-0224. On the web at BassoPHAC.com. And remember, everything's better with Basso.
This is WICC 695.9, the voice of Connecticut.
CBS News Brief. The White House has confirmed there's now a ceasefire with the Houthi rebels in Yemen. President Trump said today the rebels want to stop fighting.
I will accept their word, and we are going to stop the bombing of the Houthis. Effective immediately.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem was asked by lawmakers today about the Real ID deadline for tomorrow and if that will impact flyers.
We will make sure that it is as seamless as possible and that travelers will get to stay on their intended itinerary.
The Supreme Court will allow a ban on transgender service members to remain in place while legal challenges proceed. Legal analyst Jessica Levinson.
The Supreme Court is not ruling on the merits. The Supreme Court is just ruling on whether or not the ban on the ban could stay in place while this case plays out.
The court's 3 liberal justices said they would have kept the policy on hold. CBS News Brief, I'm Cammie McCormick.
WICC 695.9, Voice of Connecticut Local News Update.
Connecticut Governor Ned Lamont is one of 6 Northeast governors who have invited Canadian premiers to a meeting in Boston. Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey is organizing the gathering to explore the impacts of Trump administration tariffs and how American and Canadian officials can maintain strong trade relations. In addition to 5 New England governors, New York's governor also extended the invitation to 6 Canadian premiers, including those from Nova Scotia, Ontario, and Quebec. New Hampshire's Republican Governor Kelly Ayotte is not involved. Connecticut is joining a said that lawmakers are using the Waterbury case to restrict the freedom to teach their children. Westport Democratic State Senator C.C. Marr told WTNH-TV News 8 that the difficulty is balancing safety with educational freedom.
What we're looking at is how do we thread this?
Trying to make sure homeschooled children are being properly educated. A jury has acquitted a Bridgeport man of murder, but convicted him of first-degree manslaughter for a 2022 homicide in the city. The jury yesterday delivered the verdict. The victim was stabbed in the chest on Atlantic Street in October of 2022. Blue faces up to 20 years in prison at sentencing in July. A developer wants to transform a vacant 3-story office building in Stratford into 14 affordable apartments. The former medical office building on Honey Spot Road near Lodge and a pair of 2-bedroom apartments. All 14 units would be considered affordable under state law and would be offered to people earning 80% of the median income in the area. The former principal of a Danbury school in October for allegedly using a Westside Middle School Academy credit card to make unauthorized purchases and withdrawals. Negotiations town. Governor Ned Lamont visited West Haven yesterday to celebrate the grant, saying these types of projects make a big difference for the community. The project is in the design stage and should be completed in less than a year. Experts are warning that we are now at peak tick season in Asian longhorn and lone star species, which are growing in numbers statewide. If you are bitten by a tick, experts at the State Environmental Science and Forestry Lab suggest that you send it in for testing to determine your risk. Dr. Godarj Molay spoke with WFSB Channel 3 about the variety of information testing can give you.
What kind of risk they are at and what's the scope of the risk. And then we determine the engorgement status to somewhat estimate the amount of time those ticks have been on people.
If you're a dog owner, you should also make sure to check them before they come inside. And the University of New Haven this morning announced that it has officially accepted an invitation. The Chargers' 17-year association with the NE10 will end on June 30th, at which time their affiliation with the NEC will begin. The conference said they are disappointed with the university's decision, but believe that Division II continues to offer the best path forward for the student-athlete experience. I'm Chris Williams with WICC News.
WICC Smart MLS Right Now Traffic.
95 northbound, solid hour.